Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my All the Park Baseball 22 series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And as you can see, we are at the date of the first year player draft. I went ahead and skipped international free agents just because there literally was nothing that was even semi-interesting this year. So after perusing that, I just decided that it wasn't even really worth to even show who was available, so I just went and skipped ahead. And as you can see by our record at the top, we are 40-47. We're in fourth place, pretty much just going back and forth with the Reds day by day for fourth and fifth place. And division-wise, I mean, it kind of sucks because our division just is probably the best in baseball, or the most consistent, I should say, just because the Reds and us are the worst team, and we're really not too bad. The Cardinals and Cubs are of course leading the division. The Brewers kind of in the same spot as us, so they're again not too bad. Just want a really quick preview, kind of the rosters, see what they have going on, because I really haven't. It's pretty similar to what they have now. Actually, the Cardinals are looking like they have a roster really set by veterans. They have a lot of expiring contracts. They're going to be, they're going to have to bring back Flaherty, which is very big for them. And we have lots of expiring deals. Looks like for them. Take a quick look at their minor league system just to see. Nothing fantastic prospect-wise for them, but some definitely good players they have available. And I want to see this up just for future division-wise, to see just how we stack up against them. The Cubs lineup is kind of the same thing. Good amount of older veteran guys. Looks like Chris Bryant is on a downward trajectory. Pitching-wise, they do have a pretty good rotation that is semi kind of young, but again, it looks like these guys are really headed up by veterans. Wow, this team actually has a ton of injuries right now. So maybe they'll kind of cool off here as the season goes on, because they do have so many injuries. They also will be expiring. While they're paying 35-year-old Jose Iglesias about $20 million a year. And prospect-wise for them, they really don't have too much. It looks like a good player here or there, just by a very, very quick glance, because I definitely don't want to take it too much time with this. And then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the Brewers in our division. They are a good bit younger here, but I really don't think this Brewers team is really that exceptional. They do have some big injuries here, but those are all veteran guys, it looks like, for the most part. And then their minor league system, they again kind of the same thing. Not much. This James Wood guy looks like he could be a decent player, but so that's it. Kind of, I'm looking at all the teams ahead of us in the division. I do think we have a good future here. The division is pretty good this year. But again, just that a lot of these guys are veteran guys. Guys who are in shorter term deals. So it's going to be hard to retain the core of all those teams. So I think we do look pretty good coming up in the next few years here. And as for the draft, let's go ahead and get into it. There are quite a few good players available here, and we're picking 23rd, of course, which it was quite different from how the series, of course, started out, because this is our first non-top 10 pick of the entire series. So it's kind of interesting in that respect. First guy that's suggesting here is James Triantos, I'm going to say. Pretty much looks like a second baseman, a very good second baseman, maybe third baseman. His range just isn't good enough for him to be an extremely effective shortstop, although he could be passable there. It also seems like he has some pitching ratings, and he does. He actually looks like a decent enough pitcher. Also very versatile. Could also play a very good corner outfield for us as well. His bonus demand is pretty small, so honestly, there's a chance that we could, go ahead and pick someone else here and get him in a later round maybe. Malcolm Moore. I do like Malcolm Moore. He has a very good catcher ability rating. Again, kind of a lower bonus demand. Do want to take a look at some of these starting pitchers here. Tony Dearden looks just fine. Malcolm Moore does have high intelligence, which looks pretty good. I do think that pitcher is pretty decent there. The rest of these guys here, I assume, are relievers, and they are very good relievers, but they are relievers. So, to be honest, I think I'm going to go ahead and take Malcolm Moore here. I mean, 65 catchability guy, high intelligence, so he could be a guy who progresses more. He has a college bat, so he's 21 already, about almost 22. So he'll be here sooner rather than later. I think he's, again, catcher isn't really a position of need for us right now, but again, the Major League Baseball draft kind of different from other drafts where, you really want to take the best, prospect available. Catcher isn't necessarily our need. We have Rortvet. A lot of other prospects we have coming up are catchers themselves. But I think this guy just might be the best player available here. Dearden is a guy who looks to be pretty good, but actually, Dearden might be the guy we want to go with here. Malcolm Moore is pretty good himself. Again, I think we could get this guy in a later round. I think we are going to go with. I kind of think that Dearden might be the way to go just because of how OSA rates him a good bit better. Let's see a quick mock draft here, which is probably more likely see how it's going to shake out. Malcolm Moore's projected to go around us. I don't see any of the other guys that we're considering in here. Let's actually go ahead and see where these guys are projected to get taken. Of course, it probably won't necessarily turn out like this. But I'm just kind of seeing how OSA generally values these guys. So I think we will go ahead and take Malcolm Moore and see who's going to be still available here. Doesn't look like that shortstop is available, and neither is Dearden the pitcher, but that is fine. Tracy here looks like a decent enough outfielder. I'm not quite sure when I want to take these relievers because relievers aren't nearly as valuable as other positions you can get, but these guys are pretty good. Some pretty good college relievers right there. Do not interested in him. This guy already has a mega, just lights out fastball. I do like Malachi Fields here. He could be a good shortstop. He is a 23-year-old college shortstop. Very versatile, not necessarily great with the bat. Not the best. Cody Grice is another guy who I think is kind of interesting. Keep on going here, see who else is interesting. And then we'll also kind of see by potential ratings here to see, just who is available here. Josh Millard is kind of interesting, although he's a catcher who cannot play catcher home run power. Don't want Chris Carnes because he can't really do anything else. This guy is a pretty interesting player, although he does have a low work ethic. Another guy with low intelligence, so probably want to stay away from him. Another guy, low work ethic. I would be much more inclined to take some of these guys like this guy, who's a much higher work ethic, and I think this is actually who we're going to go ahead and take here. He has pretty big power right there, so we're going to go ahead and take him right away. Let's see some contact potential here. Grice appears here again. A pitcher here who can kind of catch but doesn't really have a position there. This guy does have a high work ethic, which is good to see there. He could be possibly an interesting player for later. Don't necessarily think that I take him now. To be honest, I think I'm going to go ahead and take some of these relievers here. So Pat Dennis, go ahead and offer him right there. John Haley is available here. I don't think I'm going to be taking him at the moment. We'll see who the suggestion wants us to take. Mike Winans, who doesn't look too bad, but I want to look at some of these bats who are kind of available here. And none of these guys seem particularly too intriguing. I'm going to go back and sort by individual ratings to kind of see who else is available. Cody Grice, where's the other catcher here with the high work ethic? We're going to take him instead of Grice. So we're going to go ahead and meet his demand there. I'll go ahead by K's potential here and see who else is available here. Of course, all of these guys will not strike out a bunch. This guy's a second baseman who really isn't all that defensively. This guy also is not very good defensively. He does have very high intelligence, so maybe he could turn into something. Cameron Hudson, kind of looking for a guy with a good kind of positional profile, and it's definitely not this guy either. He's the worst one fielding wise. Maybe this Joe Long guy, who also is a pretty decent looking reliever. I think we'll go ahead and take him. Take a look at this Matt Jones guy real quick. He's not very good, so we're gonna go with Joe Long here. Also gonna go ahead by fielding rating, see who's available. There's a 70 catchability guy, although he isn't really much of a prospect. I'm kind of looking further down the list here. There's some decent guys who could be interesting picks for later rounds, but not necessarily right now. This guy can't really hit. He's pretty much a second baseman through and through. Although, I don't know. I kind of really want to take this guy because his defensive ratings are huge in the infield, and for some reason he just only plays the outfield right now, which is kind of crazy. Even though he cannot hit. Further down the list here, again, none of these guys can really hit, so they're kind of not that useful. That first guy still really wants me to take him though, because he does have a high work ethic, so he could possibly develop into something with that. Again, here's another guy who is listed as an infielder, but his outfield defensive rating is just nuts. Drew Burris, he's a guy who I've had success with in the past. To be honest, I think I just have to go ahead and take this guy. I mean, his hitting ratings, aren't good, but also that range and air rating is just special. So I think we might just take him just to take him there. And catcher arm wise, see if anyone here is really good. Not particularly. The catcher here who I liked, it might have been Galloway. Guy who I liked as an actual prospect. I think it was Galloway. He, or maybe it was one of these guys. I think it might have been Harrison. That's their Rollins. Maybe was it? No, because he has low work ethic. I think we're gonna go ahead here and look at some pitch potential, and then might just call it. We're gonna take this guy because I'm just not sure if really anyone is available that looks too interesting that's left. But we're gonna go ahead and see anyways. This guy is very good at fastball, but really nothing else. Shaden Posey is a no. Yeah, not too many guys that are too interesting here. Even though I've had a good deal of success drafting guys in later rounds who have turned out to be pretty usable prospects, because of course, really in the later rounds you just want to look at guys who have pretty much one usable skill, and then that you think could possibly turn into a major league player, based on that one skill that they have that is exceptional. And wow, I didn't see this guy before, but I mean, he doesn't have a particularly great work ethic, but I mean that profile is kind of interesting enough there, so we'll go ahead and take him. Steve Brewer, if he can play position, this guy might be interesting. He cannot really. Chris Carnes is still available here. Don't think we're going to be looking at him. Good is still here. Harris. That's Brewer again. And none of these guys are too interesting because they don't have fantastic ratings here. I think at this point I might as well just go ahead and take Millard. Casey Wicks is also kind of interesting. He could be possibly a usable minor league catcher. Look at Nunes here, and then Rich Garcia, and then we'll probably call it. I think he might go ahead and take this Rich Rivera guy. He kind of has a high intelligence and low work ethic, so maybe that will balance out. Cole Wagner here. I'm actually going to go ahead and take Cole Wagner, then we'll call it, because Cole Wagner is a guy who I've been successful with in previous OTPs, and in this particular one, he can turn out to be a pretty decent player. So we're going to go ahead and take him, and then that's actually going to do it for the draft. So we'll finish it up. We did quite a few rounds there, but it's important to do a lot of those guys, because especially, we found a lot of guys who are very good in those later rounds that have been good prospects for us. So kind of with us being out of the race here, we are going to be looking to deal kind of the guys here. Wow, Mitch Keller's not even being used as a starter anymore. Wants to use Tristan McKenzie as a starter. That's kind of interesting. Maybe if I set position the closer, it'll change. So basically, I'm going to sim closer towards the end of towards the trade deadline, and then we're going to go ahead and move the guys who I talked about moving. Before we get into the deadline, we do have the All-Star game, which I kind of forgot about in that time. So we're going to go ahead and go over the futures and regular All-Star rosters to see if we have anyone in it. Here you can quickly just show you the American League prospect roster, so you can just look at that as you will. And then we have the National League roster here, who of course, we're going to have some guys in it, and I see that we do. We have Kobos here. So he's here as a reliever, which is cool to see. Hopefully he won't be here much longer, so he'll be a major league player. We have Tony Ozuna, who is our best prospect and number 5 prospect in baseball. He actually was really struggling in high A, which he did also last year, so I sent him back down to A-ball. Hopefully he can remedy that, but he's going to be 20 here, so we're going to need to start, moving him up some levels. So hopefully he can figure out whatever goes on when he gets to high A, because, he really... we would like to see him go through the system more. Then I do believe, I thought I saw we had one more player, but maybe not. Yeah, I think I confused myself with the guy from Philly here. So we have 2 guys there, 2 very top prospects in the organization, so I'm kind of not surprised those guys are there. Here are the American League All-Star rosters. Nothing very surprising here, at least not right away. A lot of young guys in here, of course, at this point. Nolan Jones is playing first base. I thought he was a pretty good third base defensive prospect, but here he's playing that. DH, oh my god, dude, this is just unacceptable. Jose Altuve is the starting second baseman, even though he mostly DHs nowadays, and he had a terrible offensive season. I have no idea. There's some bad fan voting there, I guess. And then you can see the rest of the guys here. Marcelo Ozuna is still around in this. So Miguel Rojas actually have a monster offensive season there. And I'll go looking at the National League. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. We have Nick Nelson here, who's making his first All-Star team, so that is cool to see. He, of course, was very good for us last year and is very good this year, so I'm cool to see that he continues to make it. Rortvedt is here. That's his second All-Star appearance in a row. Of course, he made it last year, and he's only gotten better this year, so it's cool to see that he has made this year's All-Star game. And going further down, I wouldn't anticipate that we would probably have anyone else. No Ko, of course, this year since he's been so bad. And no, we don't. So we have 2 All-Stars this year. Nelson and Rortvedt, and they're our 2 best players this season. So you could say definitely makes sense. So now we have reached July 28th, and we're starting to make some of the moves here that I kind of talked about. And the first is Chajuko, who continues to just hit very poorly. I mean, he's slugging .378. He's been very bad for us this year. His ratings have dipped a little bit. This season, I mean, is even worse than his debut season, which, of course, was not very good and lower than we expected at that time. And he's been bad, as well. This season, or even worse, I should say. And the guy we're going to be picking up here is from the Royals. Now, George Kirby is kind of interesting. He made the All-Star team in 2023. Was very good. Was also pretty good in was kind of so-so in 2024. He must have had a major injury because he has only pitched in AAA. He's in a rehab assignment right now, or he was, I think. But I think he's very interesting. He's got 80 control, 34 pretty decent pitches. He's a ground ball pitcher. I think he would work pretty nicely. He has many years of team control left. I think, getting him for Ko, especially with how Ko has been performing, especially this season, is not very good. Now, I'm going to try to see what we can kind of maximize, value with here. See if we can get anything else in addition to Ko. Probably, of course, won't get some of those top-of-the-line guys there, but hopefully we can get something in addition, possibly. That would be pretty nice. I don't know exactly what it would be, but a lot of their top guys here happen to be hurt, so we may not. Maybe they would want to part with Alex Monroe. Not really. So, I do think this deal's fine. We're gonna get Kirby, who is under team control for a while. See if we can get them to eat any salary. Probably not. They will eat 50%, 60%. Nope, 55 is where they cap it off at. Just to kind of see us. So yeah, this is the first deal that we're going to be doing. Ko's going to be going to the Royals, and we're going to be getting George Kirby in return. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Ko apparently was a popular player somehow, even though it doesn't say he is. But Kirby is a fan favorite, so hopefully he can be good for us, because the last thing we want to do is tank our fan interest, because Mitch Keller is also a well-known player, so definitely don't want to go ahead and get rid of a lot of these guys. The very next trade that we're going to be doing here is for Nick Sanzel. We're going to be moving him to the San Francisco Giants. And Sanzel, again, he hasn't been too bad this year. He really hasn't been great offensively. Of course, not hitting really for any power. But, in the field, he's very versatile and very good for us. He is very good in left and center field for us. Been a plus defender at both, more so average in center field, but we're going to be getting 2 pretty good players that I think can help us out. First is Elliot Ramos, who has been a pretty good player with the Giants so far in his career. He's already pretty much an established player. He is 4 years into his service time, so he will have a few more years left with us. He's mainly a corner outfielder, but probably could play some center if you needed him to for some stretches. Offensively, he's been kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. He's been an above league average hitter each year he's been in the major leagues, but he's a pretty consistent hitter. Which is something that we need. He's going to be also coming at a cheap price. We're also going to be getting another player, so we're pretty much getting two players that are rated the same as Sanzel. Just for Sanzel, of course. After moving we don't really have a first baseman on the roster, and we don't really have another guy that we could plug in the major league roster. In the minor leagues that we could plug in at first base. So we're going to be getting Logan Wyatt, who hasn't barely even played in majors. He's gotten about 100 ABs this year, and he's done pretty well. He's been an above average major league hitter. In the minors previously, all he's done is hit since this game got underway. So we're going to be picking up pretty much two players for the that are the same quality overall rating according to the game as Sanzel. And the only thing we're going to have to do is give up Peyton Pallett, who kind of is an interesting player. He has some interesting ratings. He has 3+ pitches. He doesn't have great movement, which is interesting, even though he has 3+ pitches. He's 24. He hasn't pitched above A ball really. He's kind of had some seasons where he's been pretty good. He's also been pretty bad sometimes. So he was a 10th round pick for us in 2023, and we're just gonna be moving on from him. Throwing him into this deal is well worth getting these guys, so we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that deal. Alrighty, and then the next and final guy, at least I think, that we have is Mitch Keller, and while he did improve his numbers this season, he still is on a pretty concerning downward trajectory. His walks are way up, his strikeouts are down. I think it just really could be kind of the end of him being a player as effective as he is. What really helped him out was going to the bullpen, and if he has to be a bullpen arm, a closer to really be effective, then he just really doesn't match up with us, because as the Pirates, we just don't have the money to pay a guy like $8.7 million just to be a bullpen arm, and it is going to kill us a little bit because his popularity is well known, and the guys we're acquiring are not well known. So this probably is going to hurt us, but I think we should be fine. We have all those guys coming up. We can probably get some popular players in the off season for pretty cheap, or at least get some bench guys who have decent popularity. And so here's the guys we're going to be getting. So we're going to be getting Jeremy Araco, who is a very, very interesting player. He was acquired as a Rule 5 pick this season, and he has a very interesting profile. So his eye is incredible. He's got good contact ratings, pretty good avoid K rating. He doesn't have the greatest power, but he has a pretty great offensive profile. He has full control left. In the field, he's not fantastic. He's pretty much going to be a bit of below average defensive second baseman. He's also 5'10", so he's not a guy who you really want to play at first base. So he probably just is, a second baseman. He could play some corner outfield, some left field. But again, his bat alone is just worth getting. Alejandro Kirk is also a guy who we're going to be getting. The thing with him is he's a catcher, but he's not really a very good catcher. His catcher ability is only 40. Now with him, he's kind of the same deal. His fielding profile isn't the greatest. He probably could play some first base, but he's only 5'9", so you really don't want to put him at first base because height is a factor when it comes to first base defense. So that will hurt him a pretty decent bit. And then we're actually bringing back our old friend Brian Reynolds, fully retained. With Sanzel gone, we need someone who can do something against left-handed pitching. While he is a bit better against right-handed pitching, he is, fine against the left-handed pitching. So we're going to be bringing him in just as kind of a filler for the season, even though he still has some team control. And, their fans are pretty upset that Keller is gone. Our fandom has decreased a good bit. So hopefully we can get that. We're going to need to get that fan interest up if we're going to be able to grow our team on popularity. And then after all of the deadline trades that we made, this is how our lineup is kind of going to look for now. We're kind of have our hands tied at short at the moment. Almaeus is coming back from his rehab assignment, but I decided to just send him down to AAA just because he really hasn't even been good. He hasn't been good. He's been about league average shortstop this season. And, if he's playing a league average shortstop, he's not worth playing since he can't really hit. So, right now we're going to roll with Araco at shortstop. He's not a good shortstop. So that's kind of a tough spot to be in. In all honesty, I might just let Brian Hayes run a little shortstop and see how that goes. His turn double play rating is kind of low, but I might just do it just to see how it works. Just because we don't really have any other two good options at the moment. Because we've been playing Bay at shortstop, and he can't really play shortstop either. So defensively, it doesn't really matter. Because Araco and Bay are gonna perform, and Araco is gonna perform better offensively than Bay. So, and this is probably just what we're gonna roll with. It's just for this season thing. We're probably gonna shake things around this off season and actually find someone who can play the position of shortstop. But otherwise, we also don't really have a spot for Kirk because can't really force him. I don't want to force him to learn first base right now and take ABs away from Wyatt. So Rortvedt can play first, or he could. I guess he lost the ability kind of now. Same thing with Sanchez. At least I think. No, he hasn't played it. Rortvedt, I don't think he's played any first. He's played some center field though last year, which is interesting. So again, this is what we're going to roll with. I might put Hayes at shortstop just to see, although he is kind of injury prone, which kind of scares me away from that. But nevertheless, here are our pitching assignments then. Here's our starting five. Kirby slots in kind of where Keller was. Hartlieb is up to make pitching work. That's how pitching is shake out. And then I want to mention outfielders. I forget if I mentioned earlier the changes I made, but I sent down Florial and Robinson. Hudson Head, I called him up. He's been up for a while, and he's been raking since he's been up, so that's good to see. Palma continues to hit. Now we have Ramos, of course, who can play right field. So he'll be playing right field, and then Brian Reynolds will be in center field for us this season. And then kind of want to look at how they've been doing. Robinson's actually been performing pretty decently in AAA. We'll probably call him up for September call-ups, and then Florial has just continued to be. He's been even worse in AAA. So his tenure with the team just might be done. We'll probably look to move him in the off season. Next time I'll see you probably be at the end of the season after this pretty poor season, and we'll check in then and see how we finished out the year and see if anything big happens. So again, thank you guys for watching. It's a pretty busy episode, as this episode usually is, but again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the videos, and definitely comment and let me know how you feel.